Here we go with Jacob Warren. I'm Dave Hooker. It's the Vol Report brought to you by Bassey Lawn and Garden. Man alive, it's worth the drive. Click on that like button right now because we're going to talk some Orange Bowl as that's where the Vols are heading to play Clemson. And Jacob is a man of his word. He told me that he was going to let the cards play out and not be overly I guess overly analytical of where Tennessee could end up, and that's what you did. You were at Dollywood on Sunday during the announcement, Jacob.
Yeah, just trying to enjoy my time, man. Enjoy some time with some teammates and some other friends, and just get out there and have a good time while we're still in Knoxville before we go down there to Miami.
So how did you hear?
Yeah, we were in line for one of the roller coasters or something, one of the rides, and it was before it was actually like official. But I think some of the reporters had tweeted it and said, breaking, like, whatever, the Vols would play in the Orange Bowl versus Clemson, and that's all pretty much what we expected, right? You look around and there's all the predictions and stuff, but a lot of drama, I guess, in the past couple of days with just who was going to be where, and was a certain team going to get in, and was that going to kick us out of something, and is this team, all types of different things. And so watching the game Saturday night with the guys and just kind of seeing how everything played out, and um, obviously it's what we thought. So we were all just like, oh well, yeah, cool. Let's go to Miami. Like, what are we gonna do there? I mean, just kind of getting excited, getting ready. So
You've been to the Tax Slayer Bowl and the Music City Bowl, but this
yeah,
is kind of another level. This is one of the
yeah.
most storied bowls in college football. What does that mean to you and this team?
Oh man, it means the world, man, because that's a place, the Orange Bowl, or even the Sugar Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, all these bowls that we were considered for, or were kind of within reach for us because of the season we've had. Um, you sit there on these New Year's Six games, and you're like, man, like that must feel amazing, right? It's awesome to have that level of prestige, and it's also it's great to make bowls, right? We were happy to make bowls. We were happy to go to Jacksonville, happy to go to Nashville and stuff, and just be able to play in a bowl game, because not everybody gets to. But at the same time, to be bowl eligible, 6 weeks into the season and not even have to worry about it anymore, and we're just like, all right, well, now let's see how high we can go, right? And so we obviously ended up with 10 wins and going to be in a pretty good Orange Bowl, so it's exciting.
It's a neat matchup too. The Ball Report
Yeah.
brought to you by Bassey Lawn and Garden. Man alive, it's worth the drive. There in Cleveland. I don't care if you're in Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, wherever. It is worth the drive to save money on your industrial mowers if you own one of those companies, or a commercial mower, but a residential, of course, as well. Toro, count on it. They've got the hedgers and the trimmers to take care of you. A big name opponent too,
Yeah.
Clemson. I mean, that was one of the teams before the season a lot of people thought would compete for a national championship. How excited are you to play a team, a program of that ilk?
Yeah, it's funny. Ever since I've been in college, for some reason, I've really wanted to play Clemson, and I don't know what it was. I think maybe just because they were I mean, still are a very good team, but they were at the forefront of this college football playoff stuff for a while, and it just was a team that we always feel like we always wanted to crack at, right? We wanted to be able to play them, and we figured we never would be able to, because when would we ever cross paths, right? Unless we were in the college football playoff, whatever. So it's cool to get this opportunity, and the orange on orange and the orange will be funny. I've seen all types of tweets and stuff about the uniform combinations we should wear and whatever. But um, yeah, it's awesome. Good opportunity.
Yeah. So if they came to you and they said, Jacob, you get to pick uniform combinations, what are you wearing?
Um, so I was like, obviously you can't both wear orange, whatever. But I think it would be awesome to wear both teams wear their alternates. So no orange in the Orange Bowl. They can wear their purple. We'll wear our smoky gray or our black or whatever it may be, and just have a color rush of no orange in the Orange Bowl, just because it would be funny. But I don't know. I don't really care, man. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, and you guys deserve the trip, and with all that you've accomplished this season, what was the general consensus you said when you met with the team, just in terms of being there? Because I know the college football playoff was out there, but this is
Hmm.
an incredible accomplishment for this team.
Yeah, and I think we've all gotten to that point. I know we've had conversation about if you were to look back and at the beginning of the season tell us that we win 10 games, we would all be, ecstatic. And it kind of how it felt a little bit different because of how fragile our opportunity is and just what we could have had, right? And I think a lot of guys are kind of getting over that could have had and are starting to realize what we do have and what we got in front of us. And so I think everybody's really excited to go down there and to play in that game against them and just have that opportunity.
How much do you think? Because I know what a coach will tell me. A coach will say, "Oh, these extra weeks of practice are just incredibly significant for the program in the upcoming years." But from a player's perspective, how significant do you think those extra practices are?
Yeah, it's so the practices I kind of look at just as at least right now, whether they're just little quick, 1 hour practices or whatever. It's kind of just keeping your body accustomed to having the pads on, to having the helmet on, to being on the field and you know whether it's full speed or whatever, making contact with each other and fitting each other up and catching an actual ball from a quarterback rather than a jugs machine or just kind of keeping our timing down. That's a lot of the important things that go into these next few practices. And then once you get closer to the game, being able to truly like game plan for our opponent and get into the details of how to win the actual game. But right now we're just trying to focus on, you know, maintaining our freshness and our ability to play the game at a really high level.
As far as Clemson, you said you've always kind of wanted to play them. I'm curious. I got a couple of years on you. How do you view Clemson as a program? Because I remember when Clemson was really bad, but during
Yeah,
most of your lifetime, at least viewing lifetime, they've
yeah.
been right at the forefront, as you mentioned.
They've been very good, yeah. And it was I don't know. I don't want to say I've always like been a fan, but I've always just liked the way that it seemed like they run that program. It seems like Dabo is a good leader and leads his guys really well. And there was a couple of guys from Knoxville that that played at Clemson and were very talented wide receivers at Clemson, and so it was cool to kind of keep up with them. And I felt maybe there was a connection there because I was watching them play, and it was like, wow, that's cool. Like I know those guys, and they're out there playing, and they're doing really well, and having all the success, and it seems like they're all really happy there, and whatever. So I think for those reasons, I've just kind of been, a fan of the program from the outside. But at the end of the day, it's I don't know. They're just a team. Like they're a team just the same way we're a team, and so um, I don't know. I guess that's where that comes from. But now that they're the opponent, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. So I'm curious,
Yeah,
who are those players? I think T. Higgins was from the Knoxville area. Mari Rogers
yeah,
was another one. Who are some guys that
yeah.
played for Clemson?
And then Brent Tucker, we call him Tuck. He played offensive line at Catholic. He was there, and then like just some guys I met through recruiting. Actually, Lynn J. Dixon ended up here for a little bit, but I met Lynn J. in recruiting, and then he goes there and has a really, successful first couple of years there, and helps them, win a lot of games at running back. And um, obviously, it was fun to watch Trevor Lawrence just because I don't really know Trevor, but like just because of he was a great talent and everything. And so watching all those guys was just it was cool. Felt like you have a connection there.
Be sure and give us a thumbs up. Click on that like button. We greatly appreciate that. I want to turn for a second to Hendon Hooker because I filled out my Heisman ballot, and I'm just curious if anybody out there is watching that hasn't filled theirs out yet. Um, why is Hendon Hooker so important to this team? We've talked about it before, but why should he, at the very least, be in New York City for the induction ceremony, even if he doesn't win it because of missing basically a game and a half? Why is it important to you as one of his teammates and as the entire team for him to be in New York and get that sort of appreciation?
Recognition. Yeah, I think just because, man, I've said it all year, but just because of the way that he's able to transform, not single handedly, obviously, but the way he's able to transform this program and his team and take it to the next level, truly, just with his leadership and with his play, right? The Heisman is the best to me. That's the best player in college football, and that includes being able to lead your team, being able to make plays in big situations, like what he did versus Alabama the last drive of the game, to be able to go down the field, you know what I mean, and and put that together. 2 plays, we're down the field, kicking a field goal, clock management, everything like that. Just the way he's able to move around in the pocket, to make big throws, to make the short throws, to scramble out of the pocket and run for 50 yards, right, and just be juking people all over the field. Like, just the playmaking ability and the stats, right? You can't argue with stats. You can't argue with the wins that he's able to, that we were all able to accomplish against big teams. And whether you're looking at stats, looking at just his character, or looking at his talent, right? It all shows that he's at least worthy of, regardless of the fact that he got hurt, which he couldn't control, right? No one can control that. Like, he couldn't control it. It almost seems like it'd be a punishment, and to leave him out of that, and to leave him out of that conversation for something that he has no control over. So, would he still be in New York if he didn't get hurt? I think that there's no doubt about it. So why, when he gets hurt one game before the season's over, should that change anything? To me, it shouldn't. And if it does, then that's really unfortunate. But yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Do you think he's such an even kill guy? Do you think he cares?
I think he does. I think he does care. He wouldn't tell you he cares because, like you said, he knows that there's nothing that he can do about it. But I think he does care because it means a lot to him just to for what he's done. He knows what he's done, right? He's a humble guy, but he's aware of the impact that he's made on this team and college football. And he's humble, but he's also extremely competitive, and he's also extremely driven, and knows what he deserves at the end of the day. So I think it would upset him if he were to not be invited. So yeah.
So for him, it's the competitive thing. It's more about accomplishing something than somebody saying, "Oh, you're great."
Yeah, it's more of someone just recognizing the fact that, like, he knows that he belongs there, but he, like, I don't want to speak for him, but this is, to me, it seems like they would be slighting him if they at least did, like, whether he's going to win the thing or not, at least didn't have him there as recognition for what he's done.
Let me go back a few years. Again, you're younger than me, and you may very well know this, but Christian McCaffrey was one of the first players to opt out of a bowl game. Mm-hmm. And that at the time, it was like, oh my gosh, how could he give up on his team? And then I think it's kind of changed over time to, it's a business decision, and you understand it if a championship is on the line. How do you, as Jacob Warren, view guys? Because it's going to happen. I don't know about this game or not, but it's going to happen across college football. How do you view opting out of a bowl game?
I don't know. I have no real comment on it. I think if it makes the most sense for you, and at the end of the day, like, this is about the team. It is about your program and your guys and stuff. But at the end of the day, everybody's living this life to set themselves up the best that they can for their family, for themselves, for what they think is important, and what they think is gonna help them out the most. So if there's players around the country that you see opting out or not playing in a bowl game because of draft or because of injury risk or whatever, obviously it's not something that that they just decided to do one day. It's probably something that they've sat on and really thought about and considered really heavily. So the same way you would like for someone to respect your decision to do whatever, same way you kind of have to respect their decision, because it's what they feel is best for them. And like I said, we're at an age now where surely all the big decisions you make are premeditated and are thought about and are cared about. And if that's what he feels is best, or whoever it is, like, go ahead. You know what I mean? That's what you deserve to do.
So take me inside of a locker room. Is there pressure to play, or is it, like you said, it's an individual decision?
I think if you care about your teammates, there's pressure to play. I think if you care about the program and the coaches and the team and whatever, then there's pressure to play. And I think a lot of guys do feel that. And, again, that's obviously something that people think about. And that's something you have to take into consideration is, am I putting my team in a bad place or a bad spot depth wise? Am I going to, who am I going to let down? if I'm going to let myself down, then I don't, maybe I shouldn't be doing it. But if it's just I letting, people that don't necessarily have a lot of, influence or impact on my life down, then um, that's up to you to judge whether or not you think that's important. But yeah, I think within the locker room, I think a lot of people feel the way I do. Obviously, whoever is making this decision has thought about it and has thought about me in that decision and has considered how I would feel. And um, as long as everything's open and honest and it's clear and whatever, then I think the same way that we would support a guy getting in the transfer portal. You got to just look at it that way of all right, this is the best decision for them, and I want what's best for them as their teammate. As a teammate, I want them to play, but as a teammate, I want what's best for them. So, um, yeah, just trying to be selfless in that regard.
Be sure and click on that thumbs up button, and that helps us open up the show to more people. And if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure and do that as we visit with Jacob Warren each and every week. And headed up to the Orange Bowl certainly is an exciting time. And Jacob, I've covered a lot of bowl games and a lot of teams that went to bowl games. And sometimes there are teams that really want to be there because they want to prove something, and they're not
Yeah,
just going for the festivities. They want to win. And there are others that maybe are let down for whatever reason, and they don't have the winning mentality going into preparation. Why does this team have the right mentality?
just because, man, this is uncharted territories for this team. Not for this program. I think this program has been prolific and has been very, it's been to the mountaintops, right? It's been as high as you can be, and that's where the standard is, and that's where we all want to be. But quite frankly, for this team, we've never sat here with 10 wins, and never had this opportunity before. So I think in some ways that can be blinding and it can be distracting to be like, oh wow, this bowl is so much cooler, or there's so many more things to do, or it's so much bigger, whatever. But also just understanding opportunity and understanding, the magnitude of the game and just kind of the legacy you want to leave, right? It's not good enough to say, oh well, we won 10 games and we went 10-2 in the regular season, but then we kind of whatever lost the bowl game. But we were at the Orange Bowl. Like, no, you want to be able to tell that story of, man, we did something that hadn't been done in a while. Went 10-2 in the regular season, and then we went to the bowl game and won the Orange Bowl. And now look at this ring that if we get rings, I don't know how that works, but like what I'm saying. If you get the ring, and it's like, wow, yeah, no, I have something to show for it and something to be proud of, and I think that's what's important. So I think guys will be able to kind of hone in on that and focus up and be able to put our best foot forward.
All right, Orange Bowl. It's got a good ring to it.
There you
So
go.
I know you're looking forward to it. One last thing I do want to ask you though is this sets up. I absolutely know that nobody wanted the Hendon Hooker injury to happen.
Mm, mm-hmm.
There was the opportunity for Joe to be able to play Vanderbilt, and now you've got a month to prepare to play a better opponent.
Yeah.
How excited are you for his progression over the next few weeks?
Yeah. Obviously, it's massive, man. We're going to rely on him really heavily. And it's good for him to be able to go in there and build up some confidence and be able to go show exactly what it is that he can do and that he's prepared to do. I think there's still going to be, man, we heard it on the college football playoff, like selection stream or whatever, the broadcasting's talking about how big of a drop off it is that, we lost our starting quarterback. That's the reason we're not here. And so like Joe's been hearing this whole time of man, like, well, this is such a disappointment. And like, man, I think he's just excited to go out and just be able to prove everybody wrong and just ball out. Um, I don't know. You're not going to be able to argue with it. Like I think he's going to go out there and he's going to just play lights out and it'll be great. And then everybody will be super excited for next season. And oh, Joe's going to be so great. Whatever, Joe for Heisman. So it'll be good. But you know how it is around here, man. So I'm just excited for him to get that opportunity to go out there and show everybody what he can do.
Well, tell him to make it easy for me, and I'll go ahead and get a head start on my 2023 vote.
You should go ahead and put him on the ballot.
He's there. He's Jacob Warren. I am Dave Hooker. The Vol Report brought to you by Bassey Lawn and Garden. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up. We greatly appreciate that. Like it. Be sure you're subscribed because we visit with Jacob and Cooper Mays as well. And it's the Vol Report brought to you by Bassey Lawn and Garden. Man alive, it's worth the drive. This has been a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.